learning today? If you did online learning today, great. Raise your hand if you know your teacher's name. Terrific. Raise your hand if we've met before. Nod your head if this is the first time we're meeting. A couple of people. Yeah, right, Zachary. All right, so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Cammie. Today we are here to do an activity. Now, before we start this activity, here are some things you should know. This is a very, very critical activity. So your focus is required, and it's your job to stay focused and do the very best you can do. First of all, go ahead and give a couple people next to you a fist bump. Tell them Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Some fist bumps. Happy Monday. Clap once if you can hear my voice. Clap twice. Clap 3 times. Great. The very first part of this activity is a game called Simon Says. Raise your hand silently if you have heard this game before. Raise your hand if you have played Simon Says before. Raise your hand if you consider yourself an expert.
I am an expert. No, I am legend.
So, what are the rules of the game Simon Says, Pepper?
Well, you say Simon Says, and then you tell us an instruction, and we do the instruction. But if you don't say Simon Says in front of the instruction, and we do it, then we lose.
Correct. Which means in this case, you're out. Or go ahead, Reed, say that other part.
If we don't do what you say, when you say, like,
Simon Says whatever.
no, not Simon Says, when you say sit down without saying Simon Says, you're not out.
Then you are out.
So if you don't, like,
If you don't do it, right? If you don't do it, he's 100% right. So everybody look at Pepper and say that's right, and everybody look at Reed and say that's right. Now, Reed, before we begin, this is a really important part. If I am talking, I am the only one talking. So if anyone needs help being quiet while I'm talking, then I will invite you to sit by your parent if you need them to help you be quiet. So the Simon Says game is about to begin. The purpose of this game is to stay in as long as possible. The game has officially begun. Please stand up.
You guys are already out. She didn't say Simon Says.
I didn't say Simon Says, you're already out. You're already out. Okay, Simon Says brand new game. Simon Says start over. Simon Says everyone please stand up. Simon Says touch your head. Simon Says put your hands in the air. Simon Says wave them around like you just don't care. Simon Says hands on your hips. Simon Says hands on your shoulders. Keep up, children. Simon Says touch your cheeks. Simon Says touch your stomach. Simon Says tell the person next to you, Simon Says jump up and down. Simon Says stop. Simon Says touch your head. Simon Says touch your shoulders. Simon Says touch your knees. Simon Says touch your shoulders. Simon Says touch your head, touch your shoulders.
All right, well I can sit right.
So if you touched your shoulders, Simon did not say. Simon Says touch your cheeks. Simon Says touch your stomach. Simon Says touch your knees. Simon Says touch your waist. Touch your head.
Oh, dang it. Almost.
Simon Says touch your head. Simon Says touch your shoulders. Simon Says wiggle your fingers. Simon Says stand on one foot. Simon Says stand on the other foot. Stand on the other foot.
Oh. I never change.
Simon Says shake out your hands. Simon Says touch your shoulders. Simon Says touch your head. Simon Says touch your knees. Touch your head.
I'm so cool.
Simon Says the game pauses right here. I'm talking. These 2 balls aren't going to work for me.
Nope.
These 2 aren't going to work for me.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. This is going to go. Read your okay on it. 2 of them is too much for me. Here's what's happening next. When the music comes on, Simon Says the game is paused. Talk to the person next to you about what did you notice about the game of Simon Says? How did you play? How did other people play? And then we are going for round 2.
Round
So
2.
turn to the person next to you and let them know what you have to say.
I was like excellent. I was like the god.
Actually, right here. Talk to the girls. What did you say?
That's not good. I was like,
something that looked like this. Simon says touch your shoulders, Simon says touch your knees, Simon says touch your shoulders, touch your head.
Oh, I saw that.
How many of you saw something like this? Simon says touch your knees, Simon says touch your waist, Simon says touch your shoulders, touch your head. I didn't touch my head. I'm not out. You're out. I had an itch. I had an itch on my head. That's why I had a little itch. So let's try this again. Now it is your job to when you are out, it is your job to sit down. So let's see how you progress. The game has officially begun. Please stand up. Pause right there. So you got out on the first one, but not the second.
Yeah.
Okay. Simon says brand new game. Simon says everybody is in. Simon says please stand up. All right, here we go. Keep up. Simon says touch your head. Simon says touch your shoulders. Simon says touch your knees. Simon says touch your shoulders. Simon says touch your head. Touch your shoulders.
I had it.
Simon says touch your waist. Simon says touch your stomach. Simon says touch your cheeks. Simon says shake your hands. Simon says wiggle your booty. Simon says touch your hands. Simon says wiggle your booty. Simon says touch your head. Simon says touch your shoulders. Shake your hands. All right, I'm the only one talking. I'm the only one talking.
No, I was keeping up.
Reed, come stand right here.
No, I was keeping up. That's what I was doing. You said
Perfect.
slow.
Here we go. I'm talking. Simon says touch your chest. Simon says touch your cheeks. Simon says touch your knees. Simon says turn in a circle. Stop. Pause right there.
I never started.
Simon says everyone please grab a seat. This is going to be your seat right here. Here's what is happening next. I want to show you a couple things. So you'll notice that on this piece of paper that there is a line. Now, before we get to this, I want to introduce you to something. I was taught by some really good research. Read this out loud with me on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. People tend to show up in their life. Okay, I'm going to give everyone one more chance to read properly. If you aren't reading properly, you will be, Sam, you'll be excused to sit with a parent. Let's try again. Here we go. People tend to show up in the way they show up in life. Let's talk about this. What this quote is saying is that if someone shows up to a soccer game and they're really cooperative, they pass the ball to people, they cheer other people on, they are probably cooperative in other parts of their life, with their friends, with their family. If people show up super competitive and ready to knock over like grandmas in order to score a goal, then they probably are very competitive in other areas of their life. What this is also saying is that if you play a video game and you're very competitive, you might be competitive in other areas of your life. If you don't really care about things, you're like, like you play a game like this.
I didn't really intend to
Then maybe you kind of are a little indifferent, or you kind of don't put in that much energy in other areas of your life. So this is very interesting because this means that by watching each one of you play this game, Emily, that I have a clue as to how you live the rest of your life, because our habits and patterns come out in games. Hold up one finger and say habits. Habits are, I'm talking, habits are things like how we do things again and again and again. So if you have a habit of listening or a habit of talking when other people are talking. If you have a pattern, so habits and patterns come out in games. So let's take a look at one of the things that we saw in the game. Some says touch your shoulders, some says touch your knees, some says touch your shoulders, touch your head. So maybe if in a game you cheat, maybe in other areas of your life, it is hard to be honest too. Maybe if when I said, Simon says touch your head, Simon says touch your shoulders, touch your head, and you touched your head, and you went, darn, I'm out, and you sat down and took ownership, maybe you have a habit of taking ownership in other areas of your life. So let's look at something else. So this is one thing. Now, how many of you agree with that? You're like, yeah, if people are competitive in games, they're probably competitive in life. If they're nice in games, they're probably nice in life. How many of you think that's possible to be true? You're like, oh, it's possible. How many of you are still thinking about it? You're like, I don't know yet. I need more information. I'd like to do a research project on it.
Informational
Okay.
information.
All right, so let's take this and move it right over here. So here's the next thing I have. Read this with me. Productively in a normal way. I don't want to mention any names. Okay, here we go. Everything you are doing, saying, even wearing sends a message to the people and world about who you are. Everyone go like this. Let's talk about this. So what this is saying is, let's see that you see someone walking down the street and they're wearing a really nice navy blue business suit and a crisp white shirt and shiny shoes. They have a computer bag in one hand and they're busy texting on their other hand. I'll take quiet hands in the air. What are some things you might make up about who that person is? What do you think, Eleanor?
Probably really strict.
Okay, so maybe they're strict. Hold on one sec. Okay, so maybe strict. What else?
He's gonna fall in the sewer hole.
Hold on, hands down. So, but read seriously. Since you volunteered, come stand up next to me.
Oh, he's a businessman.
Okay, great, perfect. Take a seat, Pepper.
He's a businessman and he's extremely busy, and I don't know if he has kids, but if he does, he probably doesn't pay that much attention to them because he's busy working.
Okay, last one. Listen, eyes on the person speaking. Go ahead, Sam.
Person who goes to a very busy company.
Okay, great. So now here's the thing, you guys. Here's the important question. Jonah, listen. Do you know if that's true, or are you making it up? What do you think?
Making it up.
We're making it up. However, wait. Here's the important part. But it's still a message. It's still a message. So we don't know if it's true or not, but it's still actually a message because the people and world around us, one second, Eleanor, hand down, are making up things about who we are because this is what life is. So let's take another example. Let's say you see this woman walking down the street. She's like got these huge muscles. She's got on this like really like tight like white athletic shirt. She has a towel around her neck. She's wearing black pants, like running pants with a stripe down the side. She's holding an apple in one hand and a green juice in the other hand. I will take quiet hands in the air only. What might we make up about her? Go.
She goes like to the YMCA like a lot.
Yep, that's maybe. Go, Jackson.
Party for athletes.
Thank you. What else? Okay, say it again then. Thank you. What else?
A serious athlete.
Thank you. What else? I'm taking serious answers. Keep going, Reed.
Like a runner or somebody who has getting a run.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes?
She buys clothes and pants from Athleta, just like my sister.
Yeah, Alexa. Thank you. Pepper, last one.
She probably just went to the gym and she's all about that eating healthy and diet.
Okay. So everyone go like this. Everyone do quietly. Now here's the question.
Diet.
Hey, stay focused, men's gallery, so I don't have to put girls in between you. Men's gallery. So here's the question. Do you know that that's true, or is it just a message?
Is she wearing
Okay,
fake
wait.
muscles or
Okay, wait. So now let's take this into school. Let's say you see a kid in class, and he's sitting like this. Okay. What do you make up, Zach?
I think his hands are really cold. He's trying to get them warm.
Okay. Right. So do we know if it's true, yes or no? No. But it's a message. Eleanor.
He's either trying to be funny or he's really upset about something and won't get over it.
That's right. Now, is it true or is it a message?
I have an idea.
Okay, hands down. I'm not taking any more. Here's the thing.
He's trying to signal the teacher so he can go to the bathroom.
So, to show up in a game, look up here, the way they show up in life. And if everything that you are doing, saying, even wearing, or even posting online sends a message to the people in the world around you about who you are, the question next is what messages did you just send to me, to your parents, and to each other about how you played this game of Simon Says? So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of things. There are some different ways that people can play the game of Simon Says. Now, raise your hand if you thought that this Simon Says game was a little bit fast. You're like, some people might say they got out because it was fast. Okay. Say one sec. Go ahead, Eleanor.
You said keep up, but you didn't say Simon Says.
I said keep up, but I didn't say Simon Says.
Yeah, so I
Thank
didn't
you.
keep up.
That's a good hot tip. How many of you think it's possible that someone in here might be thinking, it's not my fault I got out, it's Candy's fault because she spoke too fast? Do you think anyone thought that? No? Okay, let's try another round. Here we go. Simon says, please stand up. Game has officially begun. Do the best you can. Simon dice la cabeza, Simon dice los hombros, Simon dice el pecho, Simon dice el estómago, Simon dice las rodillas, Simon dice los codos, Simon dice la cabeza y los rodillas.
Ha! We can tell because you say Simon Says.
No, it's Simon. Simon.
Simon dice las rodillas, Simon dice la cintura, Simon dice las mejillas, Simon dice la lengua. Simon dice la cabeza, Simon dice los hombros, Simon dice el estómago y el pecho. Everyone go ahead and grab a seat. What if, look up here, Zachary, what if I had gone around and said, you're out, and you're out, and you're out, and you're out, and it was based on playing in Spanish? Is it possible that somebody might have said to themselves, well, that's not very fair?
I think the Spanish one was easier though.
You thought it was easier?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
easier.
Then let me challenge, just read one-on-one and you guys can watch. Here we go. Simon dice la cabeza, Simon dice los hombros, Simon dice las rodillas, Simon dice los codos y la cabeza. Simon no dijo, Simon dice la cabeza, Simon dice las rodillas, Simon dice el pecho, Simon dice el estómago, la cabeza, las mejillas y los codos. Simon no dijo. So, you actually didn't win.
I won.
Now,
I bet you. I won. Blame it on the system.
Exactly. You blame it on the system. Thank you, Sam. I knew you were smart.
So, everyone take a look right up here. And in a minute, I'm going to be passing something out so that you can write it down. And I want to explain what this means. Blame happens not just in games of Simon Says. It especially happens in our homes with our family. Here are some of the ways that it sounds in our family. It's not my fault that we got in a fight. He took my turn. It's not my fault that this happened. She did this. Now, anytime any of your words to your parents, look at me, Jonah, look at me, Jackson, start with, he did it, she did it, you did it, they did it.
I did it. No, it's such a kid.
So I love that you said that because that actually,
Did it? No,
one second, Reed, this is important. I'm talking.
I know why I did it.
This is the most important part. That if you are pointing your fingers at everyone else and saying, it's his fault, it's her fault, it's my teacher's fault. So for example, if you were supposed to bring closed-toed shoes to leadership camp, and if I said, where are your shoes? If you said, it's not my fault, it's my mom's fault, she didn't pack them. It's my dad's fault, he didn't pack them. It's my grandma's fault, they didn't pack them. That is what we call blame. Now, the opposite of blame is where our sentence starts with what the brilliant Emily said, which is making an I statement. Bless you. An I statement sounds like this. Where are your shoes? I forgot to pack them. But let's say that the procedure in your house, because you have procedures that are different than mine, is because, let's say the procedure is that your mom packs your bag for you. You're like, hey, Michelle's an outstanding mom. She can totally handle doing all the house chores, paying all the bills, working, doing a renovation, and packing for me. So she packs for me. Then, instead of saying she didn't pack my bag, I would have to say, I did a check to make sure my mom packed my bag. So, laying blame is this thing called not taking ownership, and above this, when you make an I statement, is this thing called taking ownership. So, you're gonna love what's happening next. And if you don't, I hate to hear about it. That's really sad. Most kids love this next part. Some don't. I'm looking for someone to say, God bless you. Something that happened in our house this week was that my brother or my sister or someone and I got in an argument about something. So think back to the last week. When did you argue about anything? So chat with the person next to you and see if you can come up with an argument. On your mark, get set, off you go. Come on.
Yell at me every hour that you can. So I can't yell at me every hour.
What was it? And Simon says touch your head, Simon says touch your shoulders, Simon says hands in your lap, Simon says eyes on me, mouth closed. So if you go to your parents and something went wrong, and you start your sentence with, well, it's not my fault, it's my teacher's fault, because they blah, 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 blah. It's not my fault, it's my sibling's fault, because she blah, 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 blah. It's not my fault, it's your fault, Mom, because you blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. In every single instance, there is a possibility to say a statement that starts with I. And here's why it matters. Because when you have a statement that starts with I, this is where you get, take a seat, Sam. Here's where you get actual
Power.
Yep, and you get power because you cannot be in charge of someone else. You can only be in charge of yourself. I'm going to say that again because it's really important. You cannot be in charge of someone else. You can only be in charge of yourself. And so, when you played the game of Simon Says, I really didn't see you blaming each other for anything. Usually when I play Simon Says with kids, they blame each other that someone distracted them, or they blame me for going too fast, or they say, I wasn't successful in Simon Says because you spoke Spanish and you went too fast, right?
Teacher
So,
versus student.
These two things, go ahead, Eleanor. One sec, read eyes on Eleanor, she's talking to me.
Well, the I statement should also go under blame because you can also say I didn't do it.
Ooh, let's get to that. I love that one. Save it. It's coming up in, actually, let's do it next. So let's skip a couple. So Jonah, you saw this one, I know, because I saw you point it out to people. In the game of Simon Says, there was also some of this. It says deny. And deny is an, eyes on me. Jonah, come and sit right here. Jasmine, you sit right there.
That is sad.
Stand back.
Hello.
Right here.
Why leave Jeremy as
Here's what's going.
with the honey?
Read up here. Thanks, babe. In the game of Simon Says, it looks like this. Zachary. Simon says, touch your head. Simon says, touch your shoulders. Touch your head. So here's the thing. Now, we can joke around and say, oh, it's just a game. It's just Simon Says. We're just messing around with our friends. But here's what I know to be true. What I know to be true is that when we develop the habit and pattern of lying in something small, it starts to leak into things that are big. And it especially leaks into things that are big, like relationships, schoolwork, our relationships with our coaches and instructors. And it starts to do that when we are tired or run down or stressed about something. Now, this is a really important one because if someone that you love has ever lied to you and you found out, right? So once my sister Reed, she's 2 years younger than I am, and we're really good friends now that we're adults. And about 6 years ago, she came over to my house. She went into my bathroom and she broke something. She was the only one that went back there. And I asked her straight to her face. I said, hey, do you know what happened to this? It was this handle on this like porcelain like mermaid that I had. And she said no. She looked me right in the eye and she said, no, I don't know. And then later, she actually told my husband George, she said, I broke Kimmy's mermaid, can you help me fix it? And then since she lied to me,
You got mad at her?
well, you know, it's funny because I was mad first, and then Alexa, I was hurt. Because then every time she told me something, does anyone have any idea what I wondered about? What did I wonder about, Sydney?
Didn't know she was lying.
Should I trust you or not?
Yeah, and you know, like we can joke about it, but here's the thing, is that when we lie to someone we care deeply about, we lie to a friend, we lie to our family, then that person looks at us and wonders if anything that we say is true. So this one is very serious. There's one more that's pretty serious that I want to talk to you about. And I didn't really see much of it in the game of Simon Says, and when I teach this lesson to adults, I see a lot of it.
Quit.
Now here's the thing, is that you might be thinking to yourself, adults quit? But I've traveled all over the world, and adults, they get really smart about how they quit. How adults quit is they do just enough to get by so no one bothers them, and then they just kind of sit down and check out. Now, what quit looks like in an argument, quit looks like telling someone, I hate you, and walking away. That's what quit looks like. Quit in a soccer game looks like losing your temper and storming off the field. Quit in a friendship looks like giving someone the silent treatment. So quit is when we no longer are willing to be in the game. So if I said, okay, we're gonna play Simon Says, and someone just sat there and crossed their arms and was like, I'm not doing that. This game is stupid. This is lame, I don't care. Now, it's possible that all of you think Simon Says is lame. It's very possible. You know what? I think it's fun too. However, even if I didn't think it was fun, something that I believe to be true is that I have to take responsibility for my yes. And what that means is that if I say yes to something, so that means that if I say that I'll show up and do something, I'm not going to do it and whine and complain about it. I'm going to take responsibility for my yes and make the best of it. That's what ownership is, right? And so this also means that I have the right to say no, that I have the right to communicate. Communicating is not quitting. Saying to someone, I need a break from this conversation, that is not quitting. Telling a coach, I don't feel good about this, I don't want to do this right now, that is not quitting, right? Saying something that is an I statement that is right for you or wrong for you, that is not quitting. Quitting is when we don't even play. Now here's the thing, is that in the game of Simon Says, when someone blames or makes excuses, and they say, well, it's not my fault, it's his fault, it's her fault, it's your fault, they are actually sending a message to the world. They're saying, you know what? I have no control over my life because everyone else controls me. He controls me, she controls me, they control me. But no, does anyone actually control you?
No.
No.
You're just lying.
You actually make all of your own choices. How old are you? Even when you are 6 years old, you make your own choices. You make your own choices about what you say, what you do, what you eat, when you go to sleep. Can someone put you to bed, yes or no? Yeah? Can they force you to sleep?
Yeah.
No, they can't.
Go to sleep. Tranquilizer and darts.
I'm with you, Reed.
Yeah.
I would also like to sleep.
They're tranquilizing darts.
Let's listen to Zachary. Go ahead. What's that?
Giant spider web. Spider-Man thing.
I love spiders. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. It's protecting its eggs. We'll see it later.
Wait, it has eggs?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
It's right here. Everybody say hi, little babies.
Hi.
So here's the thing, is that if you say he did it, she did it, you did it, they did it, it's not my fault, it's their fault. A message the rest of the world might be getting about who you are is that I don't have control over myself. If you're someone who doesn't tell the truth, the message the rest of the world might be getting about who you are, what do you think?
It's a no-no.
What do you think? If someone doesn't tell you the truth, what might you think about who they are?
Liar.
Yeah.
Liar. Guilty.
Now here's the thing,
Selfish.
is that, you know what though, Jackson, is that it is really common, especially when kids are younger, it's common for kids to sometimes lie, especially when they're scared. Right? So kids do sometimes lie when they're scared. But here's the thing, it is never too late to tell someone you trust the truth. It is never too late. If you make a mistake in the moment, how many of you think you will make a mistake at some point in the next week? Put a hand up in the air.
Oh yeah.
Me too. How many of you think your parents will probably make a mistake in the next 5 minutes? Just kidding. Next week. Right?
Hey, Mom,
Now here's the thing.
For like smiling at me instead of looking at the phone and recording.
And so, if you ever make a mistake because you are scared or you feel backed in the corner and you lie, if it is someone that you trust, I highly recommend that you circle back and you make an I statement and you say, I made a mistake. I was scared. I did something I shouldn't have, and I apologize. Right? Go for it, Alexa.
Did your sister ever tell you that she wrote your
She did. Thanks for asking. You guys want to hear the end of the story?
Yeah.
All right, so here's what happened. So she had already left. We had had a party at our house. She broke my mermaid. My husband George later said, hey, did Kelly ever talk to you about the mermaid? And I said, what? She had talked to him in private. I didn't know about it. And he said, yeah. She came up to me and said that she broke your mermaid and wanted my help fixing it. And I was like, how dare she?
Trigger!
So how many of you, if that happened to you, you would be really frustrated and mad? Put a hand up. So then, Alexa, wait till you hear what happened next. I waited for her to fess up and tell me. And I figured, she'll call me tomorrow. I woke up in the morning, I waited for the phone to ring, didn't ring. I waited a whole nother day for her to call me, email me, text me, send a carrier pigeon with a love note, nothing.
It's a pigeon that wants a
It's a pigeon and you tie a note to its feet and then you send it to the receptacle.
That's right.
So
And she didn't even send me a pigeon.
How did
So then I lost patience and I called her and I said, Kelly, George told me that you broke the mermaid. And she said, oh, I think it was broken already. And I said, no, it wasn't broken. It wasn't broken.
double lying.
And it was double lying. And it was one of those moments when she was scared. She was scared. She was scared and she made a mistake, and that's sometimes what humans do. Sometimes humans get scared and they make mistakes.
But if they make a mistake, if you tell them first, then they probably won't be as mad as you.
That's exactly right. And so here's what happened. Then I was really frustrated and I said, I do not think it was broken. wish you had. And it actually caused a really big heartbreak in our relationship for about a year. Because trust is like a marble jar. And trust is built one marble at a time. So every time someone is honest with us, is good to us, shows up for us, listens to us, is respectful to us, it's like putting a marble in our marble jar. But here's the thing about trust and truthfulness. If they trust and lie to us, it doesn't take out one marble. It smashes the whole jar and the marbles go flying all over the floor. And then there's no way to get them all down to the jar right away. They have to be picked up one marble at a time, one moment at a time, one truth at a time, one good decision at a time. And when this is over later tonight, when you're on your way home, you can ask your parents about the times that someone smashed their marble jar of trust. Because if I know anything about being an adult, it's that every adult I have ever met at some point has been lied to by someone they really love and care about. So all of these behaviors, blaming someone else, making excuses, when we deny, it tells people that we are a liar and that you cannot be trusted, that there is no trust between us. Now, when we quit, a lot of times go ahead, Jonah. Yeah, of course, honey. Oh, here's one right here. That way you don't have to leave. There you go, boss. So right here. So when people quit for different reasons. Sometimes people quit because they don't think they have what it takes to actually stay in the game. So some of you know that I used to work as a teacher. And once I saw a student who was learning English as a second language, I used to teach English as a second language. And there was this young boy, and he wanted to learn to read so badly. Have you ever met someone that English is their second language? Maybe even some of your parents?
What's a second
Okay.
language mean?
That
Like
means,
if they know
Bilingual.
One second.
Yep.
And like Chinese.
Yep, thank you, Reed. So he was going through his studies and he was getting so frustrated because he wasn't successful. And I could see his balloon filling up. Remember the balloon, you guys?
Yeah.
He was like, and then that's exactly right. And he knocked the book off the desk. And then he knocked the desk over and he said, I hate this. And he stomped off. Now here's the thing. He didn't do that because he really hates it. He did it because he was afraid that he didn't have what it took to learn. He was worried and scared. So sometimes, especially kids, but adults too, we quit when we get really frustrated or really worried. And sometimes we just don't do something because we think we're trying to be like cool and we're above this. So like I've done this activity with college students, and sometimes I see college students that are like, Simon says it's babyish, like I'm not playing this. I don't need to play this. And they think they're being cool, but really the message the rest of the world might be getting about who they are is
Stubborn. Quitter. Oh, they're facing sis because they don't want to get out. No trust, don't have what it.
yeah, is they're worried that they don't have what it takes. So here's the thing. Your job is to become aware of a couple things. And the reason that I asked your parents to be here today is because this is actually a two-way street. And so if your parents or your brothers or sisters hear you say, it's not my fault, it's his fault. It's not my fault, it's her fault. It's not my fault, it's your fault. It's not my fault, it's their fault. Their job is to lovingly coach you, just like a coach. Because a coach helps correct to be better, right? So a great coach might say, you're better than that. Try to make an I statement that starts with I, and they might guide you to say, I didn't check to make sure I had my shoes. I didn't check to make sure I plugged in my laptop last night. I didn't clear my dishes like I'm supposed to. I hit him because I was mad. The quickest way to a best life is by making an I statement so you have more power.
Yes.
That is one. So explain to someone next to you what I just said and practice, because I'm going to call on you and ask you. So practice what I just said about this I statement. Go, practice. Practice. Jazz, Jackson, go.
Come on. Were you not paying attention?
I made you draw a picture of I made a mistake. I liked you because I was angry.
Happy birthday.
I like
Don't fall over again. That looks painful.
Jackson. I lied because I was angry and I didn't want to get in trouble.
All right, here's what's happening next. We're about to practice. Eyes on me, sit up nice and straight, nod your head so I know you're listening, please. Sam, are you listening to me? Nod your head. Thanks, babe. All right, here's the scenario. You just became my sister. Whoa. Dun, dun. So this means that I walk up to you at our party and I say, hey, my mermaid's broken. Do you know anything about it? If you are going to tell the truth and use an I statement, this is the easiest question you're going to get, so you might want to raise your hand and volunteer now. What could you say to tell the truth, saying, yes, I, hands, there should be lots of hands in the air.
Did it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great.
Do it.
What you got?
Is Daddy here?
And that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, here's another scenario. What if you and one of your siblings got in a massive fight where you guys were pushing each other, there was clothes pulling, there was like all kinds of physical craziness. Okay, there was all kinds of physical craziness. All right? You both hit each other. You both hit each other. You both pulled on each other's clothes. That's right. So Reed and I, like if we were siblings, we went to town, and then your parent says what happened. Instead of starting with what they did, you would start with what you did. Let's hear it, Jonah. I hit him, and that's it. Now, here's another part. Hands down for a sec. There's a very big difference between taking ownership and being sorry. It is okay to not be sorry. It is okay to not be sorry all the time. But here's what is not okay. It is not okay to not take responsibility for your part. So if you're not sorry yet, that's fine. You can say, I'm not sorry yet, but I know I did this and I shouldn't have. All right. Here's what's happening next. I'm going to pass out some pens, and your job is to fold your paper, and actually I'm going to only give you a pen once your paper is folded in half. Then your job is to draw this line and to copy down as much of this information as you can. So here are some papers. Please grab them, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get some writing down. Thank you very much. Show me that it's folded in half, and then I will pass it to you. Thank you, Jackson. Thank you, Emily.
Wait, the long one or
Jenna. Thank you, Zachary. Fold it in half, please, Emily. Thank you very much.
How do you start with
Ethan. Okay, here's a couple other pens if you want to write in more than one color. So you're going to draw a line just like this across your paper. I'll put it right here in the middle so you can see, and then your job is to jot down as much of this information as you can, please. You can also write down the marble jar. You can pick a different one,
Wait,
sweetheart.
all on one side or just
So all on one side, the best you can. Try to get it as much on one side as you can. And I'll put on some relaxing music for us to write to. This is a quiet activity so people can think.
The line of doom. I think she wants to. Yeah. Break standing down.
Just do the best you can.
Excuse me, can you move your hand? I can't see.
Oh, excuse me, sorry.
Oh, I'm supposed to copy it? What the heck? Okay. Sure.
Can you not move the phone? You're right. Can't believe it.
Make sure you can read it. Just gonna move it over. It's not going away. So now, flip it over, please, and copy down this.
We said it again.
Actually, I'm gonna change this. Hold on. One sec. I am.
Wait.
I changed my mind. There you go.
Wait. Okay. Wait. So do we just?
Yes, please, Jackson. Thanks for clarifying. Yep, just flip it over and write that on the other side.
Okay. Okay.
Just another minute or so. May I see, please, Emily? Thank you. That's good. Nice.
It's who I am.
Nice, Emily. Emily, I also like how you put your name on it. Thank you. Yes. Nice addition to the notes.
I don't know. This looks more like a letter. Yeah, this is probably.
Let's see it, Jonah.
Still cover the spider.
Yes. Yes, Jonah.
Oh, and I did.
I'm coming in.
So as you are finishing up, if you are still finishing up writing, that's totally fine. Take your time. I want to show you one more thing. Right here is where something happens. So you know how my sister broke the mermaid, you guys? So Kelly broke the mermaid. But this could also be, I got into a fight with my mom or my dad. This could also be, I had a problem with my sibling. It could be any type of what we're going to call a stimulus, which means anything can happen. Now, one of the differences between humans and animals is that whatever happens, okay, so whatever happens to us, or the stimulus, we actually have a choice about how we respond. The thing is that it's really hard sometimes, because when emotions get going, we get into a fight, right? Our breath quickens, our heart starts hammering, our fists start clenching, our voice gets faster, it gets louder, our face gets scrunchy, we feel like throwing things, all these things happen, right? Where we have a response. But here's the thing, is something that is different between humans and animals is we actually have this thing between it called a choice. But here's the thing, is that when we are going too fast or moving too quickly, this choice window gets smaller. So something you might hear your parents say when there is a fight or a problem or somebody is losing it, their balloon is too full, you might hear them say, let's try to slow down. And they might try to slow their voice down. They might try to kind of get quieter instead of louder. Because when we slow down, we have more space for choice. When we speed up, we have less space for choice. All right, we are doing one last round of Simon Says. Please put your pen down, caps on, turn around. Simon Says the game is officially on. Simon Says please stand up. Now this time if you're allowed, please take a seat, because I'm hoping to give you one mighty winner. Do the best you can. Please take ownership and take a seat if you get out. Here we go. Simon Says touch your head. Simon Says touch your shoulder. Simon Says touch your knees. Simon Says wave your hands in the air. Simon Says wave them around like you just don't care. Simon Says tell the person next to you, Simon Says wiggle your booty. Simon Says shake your hands. Simon Says wiggle your head. Simon Says give your brain a massage. Simon Says kiss your brain. Simon Says give somebody next to you a fist bump. Simon Says give your pound of your chest. Simon Says shake your hands. Simon Says touch your head. Simon Says touch your knees. Simon Says touch your waist. Simon Says touch your shoulders. Simon Says touch your chest. Simon Says touch your cheeks. Simon dice la cabeza. Simon dice los hombros. Simon dice el estómago. Simon dice las rodillas. Simon dice la cabeza. Good job keeping up. Simon Says touch your elbows. Simon Says touch your elbows. Simon Says touch your waist. Touch your elbows. Touch your head. Not that either. Touch your shoulders. Touch your knees. Not that either. Simon Says touch your knees. Simon Says touch your waist. Simon Says touch your head. Simon Says touch your shoulders. Oh, 3 left. Okay, the 3 of you come on up to the front. Uh-oh. Simon didn't say to come up front. Simon didn't say to come up front. I am the all reigning champion of the world. Okay, last round. Simon Says please stand up. Simon Says touch your shoulders. Simon Says touch your head. Simon Says touch your shoulders. Put your hands in the air. Wave them around like you just don't care. Simon didn't say to wave them. Simon Says touch your shoulders. Simon Says touch your knees. Touch your head. Oh, no. Simon Says touch your shoulders. Simon Says touch your stomach. Simon Says touch your knees. Simon Says shake your hands, shake your booty. Uh-oh, if you're a booty shaker, Simon didn't say. Simon Says shake your booty. Simon Says touch your head, touch your shoulders.
Oh!
Simon Says touch your knees.
No, I just did. I was
You still in?
I think I already went out.
Okay, we have a champion. Give it up for Eleanor. Simon Says the game is official. All right, so your job is to take ownership, right? And to realize that everything you are doing, saying, even wearing, sends a message to the world. So this means that if you are talking when someone else is talking, I make up a message about who you are. If you tell the truth, I make up a message about who you are. If you smile, I make up a message about who you are. All right, So, congratulations on making it through Simon Says on ownership. And then I have one last thing that I think you're gonna like. The last thing is that when you hear your parents blaming someone else, it's his fault, it's her fault, it's your fault, you can lovingly put a hand on their shoulder and say, Mom, you're better than that. Try an I statement. So everyone pretend the person next to you is your parent, put a hand on their shoulder and say, you're better than that.
You
Or my parents.
And then you say, try an
You're
I
better
statement.
than that.
And please get your paper. If you have a parent here, please go give it to your parent. Leave the pens on the table. And I will see you guys next Mandarin Monday in a couple weeks. Peace out, you guys. See you later, alligators.